Hello, welcome to the Film Addict Show. I am your host, the Film Addict. Yes, this is the very first episode. I said I was gonna do this on Monday, but some other stuff got in the way. But I did watch the first movie on that night, and I was wondering what to pick for the very first movie, and I figured, hey, well, this show is called The Film Addict. Might as well do a movie about addiction. Addiction. So, there was only one movie that I could think of that would truly depict addiction in its ugliest form, and that movie is Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream. First, some background for those of you who don't know. Darren Aronofsky is an American film director, born on February 12th, 1969, and was a student at Harvard University. There, he studied film and anthropology, I believe, is what he studied at Harvard, and he went from Harvard to the American Film Institute here in California, where he studied to become a film director. While there, he came out with his today now he is a pretty well-known name in Hollywood. He does have a few awards under his belt. He has a few awards, but he only has one Oscar nomination, and that was for last year's Black Swan. And he is coming out with a new movie called Noah next month, actually. Yes, on March 28th, I believe. Darren Aronofsky is a very interesting film director. He's very fascinating. When he was a student, he came out with his very first feature-length film, Pi, back in 1997. Like a It was kind of it's a psychological thriller of a mathematician trying to figure out the pattern of numbers within the stock market. But it would be 3 years until he came out with his, what many call his magnum opus, Requiem for a Dream, which is the movie that I am reviewing. He always takes careful steps. I think he's one of those directors where he waits a few years before he makes a movie, and I love it when directors do that, because directors coming out with a project every other year makes them, if they're able to pull it off like Steven Spielberg does, back in Steven Spielberg's heyday. He doesn't make that many movies now, but when directors come out with a movie every other year, like, most of the time they would become boring, or the story of the plot of the movie wouldn't be too great. It would be weak, or it would just be downright dull. David O. Russell is almost an example of this. I mean, he started out with I Heart Huckabees, and then he came out with which I think my favorite movie of his, The Fighter. But that's besides the point. But yeah, Darren Aronofsky but he's one of those directors where if you wait the amount of time that he does to make a movie, the payoff is always something to look forward to. So with that said, let's start with this review of the movie Requiem for a Dream. Directed by, of course, Darren Aronofsky, written by Darren Aronofsky and Hubert Selby Jr., which was also based off of his book of the same name. The cast of this movie stars Ellen Burstyn, which is in her Oscar-nominated performance as the mother, Sarah Goldfarb. And we have Jared Leto, who plays Harry Goldfarb, her son. Jennifer Connelly, who plays Harry's girlfriend, Marion. And a very weird choice, but ultimately a good one, Marlon Wayans, the comedy as in Marlon Wayans from White Chicks, in this movie as their friend Ty. I don't remember. I don't think he even has a last name. But so to begin, we start the movie with the main title sequence, And I love the main title sequence because it shows a parallel shot of it shows it, we start off with an infomercial um, with Christopher McDonald, who plays Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore, and he's in an infomercial. We not really sure what he's trying to sell. He it sounds like a contest of sorts where they announce a winner and everything, and then he's giving them like diet tips to be a better to help people become better people or something like that. I don't know. It's weird, very weird infomercial, but it plays a very crucial part in the movie. Now with the TV, we see the TV turn off. We see the TV unplugged as Harry is starting to take the TV from his mother, and I love the very beginning because it kind of gives us a little taste of the filming style of this film. We see Sarah, getting distraught over Harry taking the TV because she knows what he does with the TV. He pawns it, gets money, um, and buys drugs with that money. But that's later on. And Harry, like Sarah, goes into the next room or whatever and locks the door. And then we see like a split screen. It's a split screen shot of Sarah in her room or the closet or whatever, and Harry outside. And go, why do you gotta do this? Why you gotta make me feel bad? And all that. And then Sarah is just, she keeps telling herself that everything is going to be okay or something like that. And then we get the title sequence of the main movie, Requiem for a Dream. And I love the title sequence because it cues in the music the song Summer Overture by Clint Mansell, who does a wonderful score for this movie, one of my favorite scores of any movie. So we follow Harry and Ty as they walk around Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, to the piers. They go to the piers and pawn off the TV, and the main story revolves around these four characters: Sarah, Harry, Marion, and Ty, and these four characters as they all plunge down into their own addictions, how they deal with those, and the movie shows how they deal with those addictions, and ultimately what happens to them at the end of the movie. Like, all right, and so we get Ellen Bernstein is wonderful. She like she blew me away with this performance. I thought it was fantastic. I could just the thought. I mean, Darren Arnofosky is able to find people who are really committed to playing obsession or like the need for attention that drives them to craziness. I mean, an excellent example of this would be Natalie Portman in Black Swan, where she says she has to be perfect all the time. Now, what Harry, and then we meet Marion, and Harry and Marion both played magnificently. Great breakout performances. Jennifer Connelly would go on the next year to win Best Supporting Actress for A Beautiful Mind in 2001. Ty is their friend, and these three characters together, they try to make it in the world of being drug dealers by selling heroin. And Marion wants to be a fashion designer. But while they're doing this drug dealing, they're getting high on their own supply. And I really love the way that the doing of the drugs is depicted in this movie. Most often you see, people do heroin, just the regular way and everything. But this takes a very different, approach to it. It shows very, very quick edits, excellent use of quick edit, and it shows the drug it shows heroin go into their veins. You see the bloodstream quicken, and then a close up of their eyes dilating, and then it shows them high. You never actually see them inject it into their bodies, but you see the quick edits of the process, like them heating the spoon and doing all that stuff, and very great use of quick edits in in those sequences. Quite brilliant. Love it. What else? It shows how it affects their blood, how yeah, and all that. But then we cut while these three characters have their story going on, we get Ellen Bernstein. She has a very individual solo performance on her own, where she gets a call that says that she won the chance to be on TV, and it's an obvious scam. You know that these old people they call these old people. They tell them to give them money, and they say you are eligible to be on TV or you want $1 million. It's one of those scams, just that you get all the time. And she buys into it, and she wants to wear this red dress. This. She wants to wear this red dress that she wore at Harry's graduation, and she wants to look good. She tries it on, but it doesn't fit her because she has gained a lot of weight since then. So she gets the idea that she wants to lose weight. At first, she tries a normal, like one of those crappy diets where you eat a hard boiled egg, you drink a cup of coffee, and you eat oatmeal or whatever like that. You know, one of those don't really work diets. That doesn't work. But then she gets a suggestion that she go to a doctor and take diet pills. Now, these diet pills that are prescribed to her are a different form of methamphetamine, in that the way the drug works is the diet pills work is you take them and then you don't feel hungry. So that's kind of what that's one of the side effects of methamphetamine is you are not hungry as much. So she starts taking those. The way that they depict her drug addiction, though, is something out of a grisly, dark, twisted nightmare that is frankly frightening. It is really freaking scary, and she dives into pure insanity from this. And I love the way that shots are set up in this movie, because we get Sarah Goldfarb wants to be on TV. She tells all her friends, "I'm going to be on television," and so she gets the information in the mail, and she's filling it out. All her friends are excited. They're all excited for her to fill out this information so she can be on TV. And I love the way the next shot is set up, because you see all of her friends following her. They all follow her, and she's right in the middle of the crowd. So the way that's set up is everyone is talking about her, and then her in the center being the center of attention. And then when she mails it, they're all clapping, and she's in the middle, enjoying all this attention she now has, because she's an old woman. She wants someone to notice her. She wants someone to say that she's wonderful. She wants everyone to think that she's sweet, and it's very tragic in a way. You feel the way that's set up is you really feel sympathy for this character of Sarah Goldfarb. All she wants is to be appreciated, and but they all come into to their vices. The themes of this movie is all these characters, these four characters, all have dreams, all have hopes and aspirations for their future. Harry, Ty, and Marion all want to make it big, and have a lot of money so they can invest it in their dreams and aspirations, open up their own clothing store, and make a lot of money on the side with the drug dealing. And so they have those dreams, and of course we have Sarah Goldfarb, her dreams and aspirations and hopes of wanting to be on television and to show herself to the world so the world can love her back. And we watch as an audience, we watch those dreams start from their humble beginnings, and this is where the use of the seasons come in. They have title cards of the different seasons, starting with summer is where it's the summer is summer's a symbolism of growth, summer of fond memories, warmth, easy times, and all that. Prosperity is season of prosperity. That's and it correlates with everyone's success. Like Sargofarb does lose weight, and then the other three characters do start making money and making a name for themselves. And then once the fall comes around, that's when things starting. I gotta rephrase that one. That's when things start spiraling a bit out of control. They start they keep running out of drugs to do and sell, and Sarah is starting to get these hallucinations that her refrigerator is jumping at her and everything, and she keeps imagining herself on the TV in those infomercials I mentioned earlier. She keeps watching those infomercials, and she keeps imagining herself on that show, and so that's when things start going a little crazy. And the music Clint Mansell does really starts. It takes us through it in a flow in such epic proportions. Uh, and then we get to the winter season. That's when things start going absolutely nuts for all these characters. Sarah does lose a shit ton of weight, but she starts mixing her medications, and she starts going crazy. She has this huge nightmare where the infomercial she's watching on TV does come to life, and she's like in the studio, and they all are pointing and laughing at her for being so old and so, I guess disgusting looking. Uh and then the refrigerator really like there was a cool effect how it opens its mouth, and it's like it's about to eat her, and then she starts screaming and running out of the room, and then we see that the TV is on the color bars. It was never there to begin with, and it was on her it was on a new TV that Harry gave her. But you see the color bars, and you know that like she has totally lost her mind. Like she does not know, she can't distort reality to fiction. She can't distinguish between the two. And then we see Harry and Ty and Marion. They start losing control of their own minds in a way, in the ways that they're battling. They're trying to combat the what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, the detox. These characters are detoxing in a very fast way because they keep running out of drugs and trying to get more. And they start turning on, like Marion and Harry start turning on each other when at first they were very lovey-dovey, they were madly in love, and now they're turning on each other and calling each other stupid and saying that, they're starting to lose control. And they lost all their money. They lost all their money. That was bound to happen. I gotta point out the music again. The music Clint Mansell is an amazing piece. Amazing piece of work. Magnificent originality. It really awes and tragically reflects the fall from grace our characters here encounter. Ellen Bernstein, amazing. Like, just it starts. There's this one, and then at the everything is just going wrong. There's Marion sells her, becomes a prostitute, sells her body in order just to get more drugs, and then Ty and Harry starts developing a little thing in his arm, like he starts developing a needle arm where it's just messed up as hell, all fucking messed up, and he keeps shooting in it, and they take him to a hospital, and every move that he makes with his arm, it hurts. Like it's literally a diseased arm now. Like it is a diseased arm with no chance of saving. And then when we get towards the end of the movie, we get another quick edit, but it's like it's all coming at you at the same time. Like Sarah is getting put into the hospital. Marion is going to a house party or whatever that is just full of rich white guys indulging into sick, twisted sexual fantasies with other whores. And then she gets involved with that, and Ty and Harry get arrested and thrown in jail on their way to Florida to try to get more drugs to sell again. And so they're trying to deal with the detox, and then Harry has to be taken into a hospital, and it's all coming at you with quick edits, like they give Sarah Goldfarb shock therapy. This this whole thing, this whole sequence would put the entire Dare program to shame. To utter and complete shame. This makes you not want to do any hard drugs ever in your entire life. Because it shows how messed up you can get on these drugs, and it shows you how far you will fall if you go down that path. And Darren Arnofsky brilliantly gives us a very harsh, very critically thinking, visual, gives us a very harsh visual of the lifestyle that hard drugs will leave you. I'm not sure if that was his message, but by the end of the movie, like, all those dreams and all those aspirations do die. They die. There's no hope. No hope for these characters. No happy ending. Their dreams die, and hence the title Requiem for a Dream, which Requiem means death or a funeral. And, of course, for the dream part is pretty self-explanatory. So they all succumb to their vices, and there is no turning back. And by the end, and at the end of the movie, we get a pan-out shot of all four characters. They all are lying down by the end of the movie, but they all lean to the side and get into a fetal position. And that is to symbolize their vulnerability. They are now, they're weak. They are defeated. There is nothing they can do to turn their lives around. Harry loses his arm. Ty is still stuck in prison. Marion is now a prostitute. And Sarah is now totally and completely insane. That when they were, when shows her in the hospital bed, she still has those delusions of winning a contest and being on that infomercial again. So there's nothing good that comes out of this movie at all. And I say that's good. I say that's a good thing, because a lot of movies like to portray happy endings, or at least there is some hope that the characters will make it by the end of the movie. In here, there's none of that. Absolutely zero. It is one of the most depressing movies I have ever seen in my life, and I love it for that. I often like to go for the depressed movies because it makes it more human, more it's more down to earth that way. It's more realistic. It's reality. And I know movies aren't necessarily meant to portray reality, but this one does so in such terrific fashion. The deconstruction of these people's dreams and how we get there, we see from the beginning to end in such tremendous, just in tremendous fashion. And it's just one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's in my top 20 favorite movies of all time, which I will be doing a video of soon. So for this movie, I say if you want to start watching Darren Aronofsky films, he's got 5 films to his credit now. He's got Pi, this one. He's got The Fountain, The Wrestler, and Black Swan. And he will be coming out with Noah, so technically he has 6 titles to his name. So if you're going to start watching a Darren Aronofsky film, I say start with Requiem for a Dream and to work from there. That's what I did, and frankly, I appreciate his work. He is one of the most underrated directors today. Maybe of the past, maybe 20 years, or no, not 20 years, because he started in the 90s. Almost 20 years. I say the past decade. The most underrated director of the past decade, alongside Wes Anderson. But my final rating on this movie, I say 10 out of 10. Had amazing music, brilliant writing, great editing, sound mixing, use of the Kronos violin orchestra was outstanding. Acting superb. I so pissed that Ellen Burstyn didn't get that Oscar that year. They gave it to Julie Roberts for Aaron Brockovich because fuck that bitch. And Jared Leto, he's nominated this year for Dallas Buyers Club. This is one of his beginning appearances into film, or at least this is one of his first breakout performances that he's done. Jennifer Connelly was excellent. Marlon Wayans, although he has fallen on hard times lately, starring in really terrible flicks, terrible stupid comedies, but this one will stand out to be one of his best roles, I think, ever. So I'd say give it a watch, give it a see, but I'd say do not go into this. It's not for the faint of heart. It really isn't. You really have to prepare yourself for it. So that's 10. So 10 out of 10 is my final rating. So that was so I am the Film Addict, and I will see you next time.